Good morning. Today we will be discussing about how to represent real numbers on a number line. So we are already done with how to represent rational numbers on a number line. That is, rational numbers also comes under real numbers. So we also see some cases of irrational numbers that can be represented on a number line. So we will go with some special cases of real numbers, that is numbers of this kind, like root 2, root 3, root 7. Like this, how to represent them on the number line, and we also go with some of the decimal expansions. That is, we have represented rational numbers in the form of p by q. Instead of in the form of p by q, if the rational number is given in its decimal expansion, how to represent them on a number line. So these are the two cases which we are going to discuss. One is representing irrational number on the number line, which we have not discussed till now. The other one is representing rational numbers in its decimal expansions. We have already learned how to represent rational numbers on a number line when they are in p by q form. If they are in a decimal form, how to represent them on the number line. That is what we are going to discuss today. So initially I will be going with representing irrational numbers on the number line. So as we are discussing that root 2 is an irrational number. At the outset, when we have introduced the concept of irrational numbers, I have started with root 2. So now again I am starting with representing root 2 on the number line. So in order to have root 2 on the number line, in order to represent this root 2 on the number line, let us once again recall Pythagorean triplets. Now Pythagorean triplets are the tools which we use in order to represent irrational numbers on the number line. So 3, 4, 5, they are your Pythagorean triplets, and we have discussed that given a Pythagorean triplet, they takes the sides of a right angle triangle. That is, if you take these three numbers and if you draw a number line, or if you draw a right angle triangle, or if you draw a triangle, in fact, that becomes a right angle triangle. That is, using 3, 4, 5, if you draw a triangle, that becomes a right angle triangle, and the largest side will be your 5 and the rest will be 3, 4. Now the reverse case is also true. That is, if you are given a right angle triangle, then the sides forms Pythagorean triplets. That is, say this is your triangle, right angle is at say this point, say this is some A, this is some B, this is some C, and these forms Pythagorean triplets, which means that the largest number square is equal to the squares of the remaining two. Sum of the squares of the remaining two, that is a square is equal to a square plus b square. Now if you assume that this is a single entity, suppose if you assume that this is a single entity called some d, if you assume that is some d, then we have c square is equal to d. Now we call this c as the square root of d, that is from square roots and cube roots, which we have already learned. So c is equal to square root d, that is the way we represent, and d is a square plus b square, right there. So finally, if you want c, it is root over a square plus b square. So this is the concept which I will be using. So c is equal to root over a square plus b square. That is, if you are given a right angle triangle, if the sides are a and b, then if you want the largest side, then that is root over a square plus b square, because c is root over a square plus b square, and we have said that this is c, which will be equivalent to root over a square plus b square. Now that is the thing which I will be using now. Okay. Right. So before we represent root 2 on the number line, we should have to know what is the length of root 2. So without knowing the length of root 2, we will not be able to represent it on the number line. So for that, what we do is we will try to identify the length of root 2. Okay. So in order to identify the length of root 2, I will again use right angle triangle. Now I want this side to be root 2. Now I want this side to be root 2. Now think of what are these two sides, so that will give you root 2. Now we know that if this is a, this is b, this is c, we have c is equal to root over a square plus b square. Now we want this c to be root 2. So in order to have this c as a root 2, that is, I want the c as root 2. Now think of what should be the numbers that you are supposed to place here in place of a and b, so that you will arrive at root 2. That is the logic. Once again I'll repeat it. I want root 2 to be represented on the number line. So in order to represent that root 2 on the number line, I want the length of root 2. So in order to find the length of root 2, I am using this right angle triangle. So if ABC are the sides of the right angle triangle, I can apply this, which I have discussed previously. So now I want this to be root 2. So in order to have this number as root 2, I should have to think of what should be A and B. So this is it. I want C to be root 2. If C is root 2, then what should be A and B, so that this entire value becomes root 2. Suppose say A is 1, B is 1. What happens? If suppose A is 1, 1 square plus 1 square, 1 square is 1 and 1 square is 1, 1 plus 1, root 2. Yes. A is 1, B is 1. So 1 square plus 1 square, 1 plus 1, that is root 2. So may I say that both of them are same? Yes. First suppose say you want to construct some root 5. You want to construct some root 5. Again we need the length. So this should be root 5. So that should be root 5. Now again think of what numbers you need to place in A and B, so that this entire thing will be root 5. If suppose if I place 1 and 1, if I take A as 1, B as 1, we'll see what happens. If I take A as 1, B as 1, I'll get root 2, which I have already checked out. So A and B should not be 1. I'll say 1 and 2. Say A as 1, B as 2. We'll see what happens. If A is 1 and B is 2, 2 square, 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, root 5. Yes. So we can have A as 1, B as 2, so that you will arrive at root 5. Now this is the process. Whenever you are given an irrational number, you have to construct that length of the irrational number. In order to construct that length of the irrational number, use this Pythagorean triplet. Use this right angle triangle and try to arrive at what should be A and B, so that you will have that required rational number as the largest side of that right angle triangle. So this is the entire logic in representing an irrational number on the number line. Now taking this logic into consideration, now I am trying to represent irrational number on the number line. So I am going with the root 2. So we have already discussed that if we want C to be root 2, then A should be 1 and B should be 1. So that is what I am going to do. So draw a straight line. So this is your straight line. And choose a point, name it as O. Now choose any length, and whatever the length you choose, I'm taking that length as 1 unit. Suppose say this is the length which I am choosing. I am saying that this length is 1 unit. It is not 1 centimeter. Okay, whatever the length you take, I am defining that length which you are taking as 1 unit. Okay, it is not 1 centimeter. So I have taken this as 1 unit. You can take any length of your choice. Similarly, I am marking equally. Okay, so this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and it keeps going. Now we want to mark root 2 on this number line. So as we have discussed, for marking root 2, I am trying to have a right angle triangle. From that right angle triangle, hypotenuse is the length of root 2, and we'll mark it on the number line. So that is what I am going to do. That is, I am trying to construct a right angle triangle with sides 1 and 1 apart from the hypotenuse. So I will be constructing the right angle triangle at this point. Now I will take this as base, which is already 1 unit. Now right angle triangle is a triangle where one angle is 90 degrees. So I am trying to construct a right angle triangle here. So as already we have discussed, 1, 1, root 2, that is one side should be 1, one side should be 1, and automatically the hypotenuse will be root 2 as per the Pythagorean triplet concept. So now I am trying to construct a right angle triangle. So this is already 1 unit. Now here I am trying to draw a 90 degree. So this is your 90 degree. Next, so I have constructed this. Next I need to construct this one. I have constructed this. This is what the base is, and this is 1 unit. So 1 unit is this length. So this is 1 unit. So take this point as your center and cut an arc. So now this has become 1 unit, this has become 1 unit. That is, we have constructed this side and this side. Now this is left over. So to identify this side, I will be joining these 2 points. So this 1 point and this is another point. Now this is 1 unit, this is 1 unit. So 1 unit, and the hypotenuse will be root 2, which means that this is root 2. Now we have constructed root 2. Now what you do is take this length and cut an arc on the number line, that will be root 2. So that is what I am doing. So take the length. So this is the length of root 2, and keep this here at O and cut an arc. So this will be root 2. So this is the way we mark it on the number line. So this is about root 2. If suppose you are going with minus root 2, then we will do the same thing on the left hand side. There is no difference. So this is about root 2. Now I will go with minus root 5. Okay. So minus root 5, again draw a rough diagram so that you will have a clarity on it. Minus root 5. So this should be root 5. So if this is A, this is B, then we have assumed that as C, and we have C is equal to root over A square plus B square. Now I want C to be root 5. If C is root 5 and this value is root 5, then think of what should be A and B. Already we have discussed it. A should be 1 and B should be 2. That is 1 square plus 2 square. Okay, 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4. That will give you root 5, which means that A should be 1 and B should be 2. So A should be 1 and B should be 2. Now I will construct such kind of triangle where the base is 1 and height is 2. That is the kind of triangle which I will be constructing. So again I will go with the same process. First I will draw a line. So again I will mark a point O. Now I will define 1 as 1 inch. Okay. See, one unit is the length which you define. Okay. It's not 1 centimeter. Remember that. I am going with the negative side since I am trying to represent minus root 5 on the number line. If it is plus root 5, we will do it on the right hand side. That is not that gives you no difference. So minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7. Now, so I have got the base A as 1. So this is what I am taking, A as 1. Now I will construct a right angle triangle. So for right angle triangle we need a 90 degrees. So this is what I am drawing, 90 degrees. So this is your 90 degrees ray. So I have drawn this. Now I need this length to be 2 units. So I will take 2 units. 2 units is from this point to this point. 2 units with this point as center. Cut an arc. So now I have got this. So this B is 2, this is 1, and now join this. So now this will be root 5. Now pick this length of root 5 and cut it here, and that will give you the length of root 5. Just like the way we have done with root 2. So this is the case. this is your root 5, and when you cut it on the left hand side, that will be minus root 5. So this length from this point to this point is your minus root 5. So that is the way we mark it on the number line. Now I am leaving root 10 and minus root 10 for you, minus root 2 and plus root 5 for you. Now think for root 10. Root 5 minus root 5 already I have done. You can make use of this and you can do it. Root 10, think of what should be A and B. If you put 1 for A, 1 for B, it will be root 2. 1 for A, 1 for 2 for B, it will give you what? Root 5. Then think of what numbers for A and B, and accordingly you can you can mark that irrational number on the number line. So this is the way we can mark these irrational numbers on the number line. Okay. Now we go with the other case, as I have told you at the outset, where we will be representing rational numbers on the number line which are in either terminating or non-terminating repeating forms. For suppose say you have 1.235. Suppose you need to mark 1.235. That is the aim of the problem. So what you do is, first you have to understand in between which two numbers 1.235 lies. 1.235 lies between 1 and 2. Yes, 1.235 lies between 1 and 2. So mark that first. Draw a number line. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Now we know that 1.235 lies between 1 and 2. So just encircle this and we'll magnify that. Now how do you get from 1 to 2? It is like after, in fact 1 can be written as 1.0, 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, so on up to 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 and 2.0. So that is what I will magnify here. So this one, so this is what I am doing. So this is 1 in the sense it is 1.0. Next 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 2 or 2.0 both are same. Now this is what I am magnifying. So I am just magnifying this. I am trying to see what is there in between 1 and 2. That is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, so on. These are the numbers that lie between 1 and 2. Next. Now again think of where you find 1.235. In these numbers, where do you find 1.235? May I say that 1.235 lies between 1.2 and 1.3? Yes. So this number lies between 1.2 and 1.3. So the number lies between 1.2 and 1.3. So again I magnify that. So I'll start with 1.2. So again you have to look into 1 point. How do you get from 1.2 to 1.3? 1.2 in the sense you can also write it as 1.20. Continue 1.20 after 1.21, 1.22, 1.23. Likewise, you will go with up to 1.30. Continue that way. So 1.20, 1.21, 1.22, 1.23, 1.24, 1.25, 1.26, 1.27, 1.28, 1.29. 1.30 or 1.3, both are same. So this is what I am doing. Again I am magnifying this. This is what I am magnifying. Now, so we have got, in fact we have magnified 1.2 and 1.3. So now again think of where will be this number? 1.235 lies between which two numbers? So 1.235 lies between 1.23 and 1.24. So magnify this. So this is 1.230, 1.231, 1.232, 1.233, 1.234, 1.235, 1.236, 1.237, 1.238, 1.239, 1.240, 1.240 or 1.24, both are same. So this is what I am magnifying here. Next, we want 1.235. So 1.235 here is here. So answer fill. So this is the way to go about whenever you are given a terminating decimal, and the same thing applies for non-terminating repeating decimal as well. So once again I'll repeat it. The basic idea is where does this number lie between? That is the idea. Initially you go with this entire number. 1.235 lies between 1 and 2. So that is the reason I am magnifying 1 and 2. Next, I am going again. I am looking into this. I have magnified. I am looking into between which two numbers this number lies. So 1.235 lies between 1.2 and 1.3. So again I am magnifying that, and again I am thinking of where does this number lie between, in between these numbers. So I came to know that the number lies between 1.23 and 1.24. Again I have magnified it, and finally I found that number 1.235. Now this is the way you go about for any given terminating decimal. Now I'll repeat the same process with respect to non-terminating repeating. Now in non-terminating repeating case, they'll tell you up to how many decimal places you need to mark, because it keeps repeating. There will be no end. For suppose if you have 2.52 bar, which means that it goes like 2.52, 52, 52 and so on. You cannot keep on going like this. Keep on magnifying, and you cannot keep on moving forward. So they will tell you up to how many decimal places you need to mark. For suppose they have told you to mark up to 2 decimal places, or in fact 4 decimal places, you will mark up to this. If they tell you up to 3 decimal places, you will mark only 2.525. Okay. So that is the thing which we will do now. Suppose the question is to mark up to 3 decimal places, or say 2 bar. The bar is only for 2. Say you are supposed to mark up to 3 decimal places, or say 4 decimal places. Then you should be marking 2.522. So this is what you need to mark, because there are 4 decimal places. So this is what we need to mark right now. Okay, 2.5222, because they have asked you to mark up to 4 decimal places. So this is what I am going to mark. 2.52 bar, and I have to mark this up to 4 decimal places. That is 2.5222. So I will start with again 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 2.52 bar lies between 2 and 3. That is known to us. So magnify that. So this is what I am magnifying. So 2, then 2.1, just like the previous one. 2 is same as 2.0. Following number is 2.1. Next 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9 and 3.0. So this is what I have magnified. Okay. Now I can think of where is 2.522. That is, we need to mark this number. 2.5222. This is what we need to mark, because they have asked you only up to 4 decimal places. So this is what I'll be marking. So now think of where is 2.522. So 2.522 will lie between 2.5 and 2.6. So magnify this. So this is 2.50, 2.51, 2.52, 2.53, 2.54, 2.55, 2.56, 2.57, 2.58, 2.59 and 2.60. 2.60, 2.6 both are same. So this is what I am magnifying. Okay. So next, again I look into the given number 2.522. So 2.522 lies between 2.52 and 2.53. So this is what is to be magnified now. So again 2.520, 2.521, 2.522, 2.523, 2.524, 2.525, 2.526, 2.527, 2.528, 2.529 and 2.530. So magnify this, in fact we have magnified. Yeah. Again think of where 2.522 lies. So 2.522 lies between these two. So magnify that. So this is 2.5220, 2.5221, 2.5222, 2.5223, 2.5224, 2.5225, 2.5226, 2.5227, 2.5228, 2.5229, 2.5230. So this is what we have magnified, and we got the required number 2.5222. So this is the way we will be marking a non-terminating repeating decimal on the number line. So there is no clear, there is actually no difference between marking a terminating decimal or a non-terminating repeating decimal, except in the way we speak. So this is the way we represent terminating or non-terminating repeating decimals on the number line. For terminating decimal, it is clear that we have to mark as per the number of decimal places, but for non-terminating repeating decimals, you will be told to how many decimal places you are supposed to mark. So this is the way to go about, and this process is called visualization on the number line, and the only logic here is to identify between which two numbers the given number lies. Now every time I am looking at the same, I am thinking of where does this number lie between. It lies between 2 and 3. I have magnified it. Again I am thinking of between which two numbers that number lies. So I found that it lies between those two numbers. Again I have magnified, and again I thought of between which two numbers the given number lies between. I am repeating the same process till the time I get the required number. So that is it all for the day. Thank you. I will be posting a worksheet. Do it. And if you have got any doubts on this, let us discuss the same in the next class. Thank you.